What is up, everybody? Nameless Co here today, and we've got our 1988 Volvo 240 sitting right here that we just drove over 20 hours from California to beautiful British Columbia to go mountain biking. So in today's video, Zeb's gonna go over how he did it and kind of just give you guys an update with the car and where we've been with the YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Over 8 months ago, when I first got this 240 DL, our original intentions were to buy this as a road trip car. I'd always been super into Volvos, but we were kind of just looking at a whole wide range of cars to take on a road trip to Canada, where we are right now. And when we decided on the 240, we thought it'd be the perfect car because we can take it to Canada on a beautiful road trip. They're reliable, but you can also make cool content with them. It's not just a good road trip car, it's also a car that, especially up here, turns a lot of heads, gets a lot of thumbs up, and it's just an overall really cool car to drive. One more thing before we get further into today's video is, since the last video you would have seen on the channel, Flynn's Ford Focus RS video, I'm pretty sure the one where he's killing off the tires, we haven't really made videos for roughly 2 months, maybe a little bit more now. It's kind of just been unmotivating where we live at. There's not that many cool areas to go out and film, and especially we're super into pursuing our mountain biking lives as well. Part of the reason why we're up here in Whistler, we just weren't finding the motivation we needed to keep up with the amount of videos we wanted to produce for the channel, and also with the quality we want for the channel. So we don't want to just go out and half-ass some little video and put on the channel. We want to make good quality for you guys. So we just weren't getting that motivation, and maybe it was a little bit of an uncalled for break because we kind of just disappeared, but we just needed it. And after this little break, and especially coming up here, because we missed going to Whistler last year, it's definitely been super motivating just being up here, and taking this little break has motivated us a lot more, so when we get back to the Bay Area, to be a lot more on it with filming videos. So that's kind of where we've been. Now let's get back into this 240 video. So now coming to the interior, the fact that this car is a 5-speed manual M47 versus the 4-speed automatic, I feel like definitely makes a big difference on a road trip for pretty high cruising speeds, because you can cruise this car at 80, which is pretty surprising. Going up some hills, it starts to bog down. On one of the passes coming over Shasta from California, right before kind of the Oregon border, I did have to go into third to make the power to get up that pass, but it was at 5,000 feet elevation, so that definitely played a role in that. Cruising in 5th gear makes gas mileage pretty impressive. We did some calculations throughout some different gas stations, and figured out we were getting about 25 miles per gallon, and that was cruising 80. Most of the time we were cruising at 80. Even on some downhill stretches, I kind of had to take my foot off the gas because I noticed we were going over 90 miles an hour, which is pretty impressive for a car from 1988. A few more things in the interior is, when you're cruising on the freeway with these older power steering cars, it's definitely not the easiest to keep in a lane, so you do have to be a bit more alert. It's a little bit harder. Normally I like just driving with one hand here, not like two hands all the time when I'm just cruising. But when you're on the freeway, a lot of the times when you're just driving with one hand, you'll start to sway a bit, because even just minor movements, there's very little like tension in the wheel. It's very loose steering, so your hand can move around a lot and kind of make you look like a drunk driver. But another thing is, the first 2 nights we were here, we couldn't check into our Airbnb, so we actually just slept in the front seats for 2 nights, and they don't go back all the way, but surprisingly, being that they're this very flat, kind of non-bucketed design, they're quite comfortable to sleep in, along as they're quite comfortable for a long 20-hour drive. Not quite the best bolstering, but they're actually not that bad for long drives. Now moving under the hood, we're going to talk about the fact that this specific 240 wagon, like most of them, is an NA model. So on a longer road trip, one of the things we were discussing when we were doing this drive is the fact that it was NA, and wondering how a turbo would also do in the same situations. Personally, I really like the fact that it's NA, due to it being very reliable and minimalistic. You don't have that many things to go wrong, and you also don't have to deal with heat soak, which you'll find out we had quite a heat soaky issue with another turbo Volvo you'll be seeing on the channel shortly on another road trip. But we just love the fact that it's NA because of how simple it is. But in some situations when you're merging on a freeway, let's say you're merging on a freeway up a hill, sometimes it doesn't quite have the juice, or going up a big hill with semi-trucks behind you at elevation. Sometimes it feels like it would be nice to have a turbo, and I think honestly a good reliable turbo setup on a red block would be better for road tripping, just because you're going to be able to maintain higher speeds, get up to speed quicker, and it could even be more efficient in some cases. But I don't think the NA hindered it at all. It still made it really fun. You just got to ring it out a little more getting on the freeway, I guess. But also the fact, like I said, like it doesn't heat soak. I know turbos, maybe going up the Shasta Pass, when we were doing it, it was about 100 degrees. So I don't know if heat soak would have played into the situation if it was turboed, but that's just something we're thinking about. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments though. Before we left for the road trip, we obviously checked the oil and saw that it was getting towards being brown, but it still had some gold in it. So we were like, might as well take the road trip up there. We're gonna get it changed here before our trip back. But overall, when we left, it barely even changed. It didn't really get any darker from the trip up here. And Flynn, how many miles exactly was it?
I think it was roughly about 980 to 1,000 miles, plus or minus all the driving we did around the neighborhoods that we were staying in. Yeah, we've done
a bunch of neighborhoods around Seattle. We went off places by Portland. We did a bunch of stuff kind of coming into Canada, and a bunch of driving as well in Canada. And also on that topic, the coolant is also same colors before, didn't burn any coolant. So overall, pretty efficient car. Just wrapping up the maintenance section of this video, there aren't really too many items that need to be addressed on these cars to make them road trip ready. They're pretty much good to go right out of the box. You will want to do your basic maintenance stuff, make sure your oil changes are up to date, all that, make sure you have a good, healthy running car, and maybe even do a couple future-proofing things. If you see, like, if it looks like stuff's getting old, especially lines in the engine bay, a lot of the original lines crack. Replacing all those with silicone lines is not a bad idea if you're going to road trip your car, along with just replacing the other odds and ends, like old items like coolant sensors was what fixed our hot start issue, so even fixing those can be overlooked. IAC, fuel pressure regulator, all those little things like that will definitely help make your car road trip reliable. But these things are amazing. You can pretty much buy a 240 that's been decent, honestly not even amazingly taken care of, just decently taken care of, like done just the maintenance, done the oil changes and all that, and fixed it when it's broken. It'll take you wherever you need to go. I would feel comfortable taking this thing far past Canada. The fact that this 240 DL is a wagon also makes it really good for road trips. We crammed 2 bikes on the rack, 2 bikes inside, along with all our luggage, and I'm sure we'll be bringing even more stuff back. So the fact that it is a wagon really helps, because you can literally cram as much stuff as you're ever going to need into this thing. Wrapping up today's video, we just want to let you guys know we have a lot more stuff coming with the 240. We'd also love to know what you guys want to see with the 240. When we get home from this trip, we have quite a few new Volvos to introduce you guys to, which I'm sure you'll like. Pretty much all of them are extremely rare, a lot more rare than even this car, as well as Flynn's new Daily, which we'll also be introducing you guys to. So thanks for making it to the end of today's video. Please stay tuned for all the new stuff we have coming, like we said, along with all the BMW stuff, of course, as well. So please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below of what you guys want to see, and we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
And now, for what really got us through this road trip.
It sound like a fair trade to me. Money over if you throwing up a pity party. Looking back, it's hard to tell you where I started. I don't know who love me, but I know that it ain't everybody. I can never love a shit, busybody, baby. If you want me, can't be turning up with everybody. Nah, can't be fucking up with anybody. Yeah, I got feelings for you, that's the thing about it. Yeah, you know that it's something when I sing about it. Yeah, mama used to be on disability, but gave me disability.